From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
Being different in the animal world can be deadly. This morning, we'll take a closer look at when FWP will take action and when they won't when it comes to aiding wildlife. And getting a rebate for pumping your gas, we'll take a closer look at if that will actually happen.
A new report says changes in seatbelt technology could save up to 1,500 lives a year. I'm Laura Podesta, and I'll tell you what it is.
Well, good morning, Southwest Montana. Happy Monday, right around 6:30. Chet Lehman, Matt Elwell with you here. Sun's starting to come up over the mining city. Beautiful.
It really is. Enjoy it now. It's about to change. Not that we're not going to have some beautiful weather this week, but today's going to be challenging. Much like the weekend, we're going to be dealing with several types of weather.
So fun.
Yeah, this morning, really not particularly cold. There are some chilly areas. Butte sitting at 25, 34 in Belgrade. As you get into the afternoon, wind speeds are picking up through the morning. Scattered showers, initially rain showers, especially at valley level. As you get at pass level, scattered snow showers for the afternoon and evening. Extreme winds gusting between 35 and 45 miles an hour for most of the afternoon. That will bring some rain showers for that evening commute, maybe some light snow trying to mix in as temperatures fall. We'll talk about accumulation probabilities and much more coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Matt. 6:30 now. False teeth, glasses, artificial joints and limbs. All adaptations people use to function because of an injury or a medical condition. In the wild world, none of those are available, so wildlife has to find its own way to survive. Recent photo of a bighorn sheep with a bad horn sparked conversation about how much we should be involved in helping them with those adaptations. This is a great example of a bighorn ram. Uniform, almost full curl of its horns. It's in the Region 3 headquarters office in Bozeman of the Montana Department of Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. Now, not every bighorn sheep or animal, for that fact, is this perfect. In fact, a recent social media post about a bighorn sheep ram in southwest Montana with a damaged horn sparked some conversation about Fish, Wildlife, and Parks taking action to help the ram. Turns out, Fish, Wildlife, and Parks biologists have known about that ram for a long time.
What happened was this ram, when it was young, was sparring with a ram much older than it, and it took an injury to its growth plate. So its horn has developed really abnormally, and yep, it's not seeing out of its right eye. But I watched this ram rutting this year, and it was in there with all the other big rams chasing around the ewes. It seems to be fat and healthy and happy.
Now, some commented on the post that Fish, Wildlife, and Parks should dart the ram and cut the horn. FWP will take that kind of action at times. But the reality of that is, if the animal is doing okay naturally, they will let nature take its course.
They look different, so we do get calls about them, but we do have to take in consideration, if we're going to go and respond to an animal that's injured or has something abnormal, we have to consider the risk involved in a response. There's definitely risk in going out and capturing a wild animal, drugging a wild animal. There are things that we can't control. So we don't want to make matters worse, especially if the animal's out there surviving, thriving, even though it might look different.
Darting and drugging a wild animal comes with a whole lot of risk to the wild animal itself and the humans, and so to go in and cut off its horn would have a lot of risk to that animal. And right now, he has lived healthily for years, and he's rutting. He's out doing everything he's supposed to be doing, and so why risk him? Let him be unique.
Unique, but not alone. FWP sees animals like this regularly. This deer, for example, taken during last year's hunt. It was missing an eye. Deformed antlers, not at all that unusual. However, some are more extreme. This elk, for example, suffered a compound fracture and yet survived long enough for the bone to grow back around the break.
This stuff is all atypical, but not as uncommon as one might think, but we do sometimes see stuff that's really amazing. And generally you'll hear someone say, wow, I can't believe these animals have these kinds of injuries and things, and they just go on with life. So it's pretty impressive. Now and then we see something that's kind of remarkable.
So as for the ram with the odd curl, FWP will continue to monitor it and all the rest of Montana's wildlife, trophy and anomaly. In Bozeman, Chet Lehman, MTN News. Now, FWP would like to know if you see an animal with any kind of physical issue. They ask that you not make an attempt to help it in any way. FWP will investigate and take any action biologists feel are needed. Their advice, if you care, leave them there. 6:34 now. Gas prices continue to hover around record levels in our country. And this week, the leaders of many of the nation's energy companies will be testifying in front of Congress. So is anything more expected out of Washington to bring relief at the pump? Our Joe St. George looks at what's going to happen and what most likely will not.
If you're anything like me by now, you're sick of the stories, sick of the sounds, tired of the numbers and the signs that take money out of your pocket. You're especially sick of walks down memory lane. Remember when gas was under $2 a gallon in April of 2020?
What you're likely sick of the most is a lack of action from Washington when it comes to the high price of gasoline, but that could be changing soon.
There isn't enough supply.
To be clear, Washington has done some things in the last few days. President Biden has pledged to release 1 million barrels of oil a day for 180 days from the nation's petroleum reserve. And Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg announced on Friday a plan to increase fuel efficiency standards in all new cars beginning in 2024. So far, though, those announcements have only moved the markets marginally. So what additional options do lawmakers have? Option number one, pressure oil executives to produce more oil and limit profits. This week on Wednesday, the leaders of Shell, BP, Chevron, as well as ExxonMobil are expected to testify on Capitol Hill, with Democrats planning to push their companies to do more to lower the cost. Option number two, fine oil companies for not drilling. The president has called on Congress to penalize businesses that have leases to drill or frack on federal land, but currently are not. Energy companies have pushed back, saying not every location is capable of producing oil, and as a result, this idea is looking less likely to make it through a divided Senate. Option number three, a gas tax holiday or rebates. One Democratic idea is to send $100 a month to every American making under $75,000 for the rest of the year, as long as gas is above $4. But that idea still lacks the necessary support on Capitol Hill, with some preferring a suspension of the federal gas tax instead, which is 18 cents a gallon. But listen to what Speaker Nancy Pelosi has to say about that.
The con is that the oil companies do not necessarily pass that on to the consumer.
In Washington, I'm Joe St. George.
6:36 now. Seatbelts save lives, and new cars are equipped with alerts for drivers and passengers to buckle up. But a new report finds many of those alerts are not loud or long enough. CBS's Laura Podesta has more.
In this crash test video, the driver is wearing a seatbelt, but the backseat passenger is not, and slams into the front seat, then is tossed. Government data in 2019, almost half of killed in car accidents were not wearing a seatbelt.
The seatbelt is the most important safety feature that a vehicle has.
David Harkey is the president of the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety and says under current federal standards, seatbelt reminders only need to last a few seconds.
Our goal is to go well beyond the federal standards. We want to push that audible and visual signal to last 90 seconds and for it to be loud enough, let's call it a more annoying warning, that would get drivers to buckle up their seatbelt.
The IIHS also wants a visual reminder for backseat passengers. With that criteria in mind, the group tested 26 SUVs and only 2, the Subaru Forester and Subaru Ascent, received a good rating. 12 others were given an acceptable or marginal grade.
And almost half get a poor rating.
IIHS research shows persistent alerts can increase seatbelt use up to 34%.
Most of the changes that we're talking about with making these audible changes is software. And so it's not a hardware change. And so we think most of the automakers will be able to make this change quickly.
Harkey says those changes could save around 1,500 lives a year. Laura Podesta, CBS News, New York.
6:38 now. Agriculture is the heartbeat of Montana. Millions of acres of big sky country in Stillwater County provide the building blocks of life for many. But just like these, so many of them are dry. Montana continues to be in a severe drought. Couple that with continued supply chain issues and the highest fertilizer prices in history. And this industry is facing perhaps its largest threat ever. TN's Casey Conlon has a story.
You always have challenges when you're farming. Every year that we farm is different than the previous year. But have I seen one that was this dry with the price of fertilizer this high and hard to find? I mean, this is a new one.
Paul Broyles has been farming this land near Rappeljay since he was 4 years old. Paul's dad Gary moved here in 1978. The two raise mostly wheat and peas, and they're good at it. But this year is different.
Most of farming is a business to where you put all of your inputs in up front. You know, it's kind of like a high stakes poker game, I guess, but you got to have it all on the table to begin with.
The stakes are even higher now because those inputs are more expensive than ever.
I use all liquid fertilizer. The cost right now for that product is $4.50. About 15 months ago, the cost per gallon was about $1.62.
Same product.
Same product.
Fertilizer prices are beyond anything that I've ever experienced. That one was born this morning.
Courtney Herzog is one of the lucky ones in the area. He saw the writing on the wall last year and bought his supplies early.
You had to finance it, pay for it, whatever, but at least we knew, you know, if we bought it early, what the price was going to be, what the availability was going to be.
Fertilizer prices have since skyrocketed. And not just that, it's hard to even find it now, a potential disaster with spring planting season already here.
We saw a big run in fertilizer sales in the last 3 weeks. When the war started in Russia and Ukraine, so a lot of the fertilizer that was in the area just got slurped up.
Russia is the world's largest exporter of fertilizer. Much of it is now on hold with heavy trade sanctions and supply chain issues. And that's not the only product suppliers can't get.
I tell the drivers off the dock it's a little bit like Christmas every day because you never know what's under the door. Guys who are willing to look at different cocktails and recipes and maybe a different application method based on what's available. That has been helpful.
Much of Nathan Haney's Nutrient Ag Solutions warehouse is filled with any herbicide he can get his hands on because many planters are expecting another bad grasshopper season after a mild winter. And that brings us to the biggest issue of all.
It is so dry, how do we know how to market when we're not sure we can raise it?
According to the U.S. Drought Monitor, over 80% of Montana is in a severe drought, and more than half of it, including much of the state's farmland, falls under the extreme designation. The lack of rain is forcing some difficult decisions.
We just sold our yearlings, half an hour ago. Well, that's a decision we made because of moisture. If you can't grow anything, it doesn't mean your bills go away.
If rain does show up, grain producers could have a banner year. Wheat prices hit an all-time high in early March at nearly $13 per bushel. That's because Russia and Ukraine normally export about 30% of the world's supply. And again, that's on hold. So while you may pay more for a loaf of bread at your local grocery store, that money is more likely to stay home.
Even with the challenges of high prices and hard to find products, we could still, overcome all these obstacles.
If you could sell wheat at these current high prices, you could lock in a profit. But you couple that with no moisture, that's kind of the conundrum.
A problem perhaps unlike any other this industry has ever faced. Casey Conlon, MTN News.
All right, thank you very much, Casey. 6:42, now we're going to take a break. When we come back,